Welcome back to Left, Right and Centre. Our focus tonight is on the floods that have battered Tamil Nadu and, of course, its capital, Chennai. Is it just bad urban planning? What has led to this disaster? As we said, the rain may be receding, but hard questions are surfacing over whether this was a man-made disaster or not. The state government blames the floods on the intensity of the rain, but an NDTV investigation traces the real reasons for why South Chennai, worst hit by the rain, went underwater. Crucial water bodies built over and lakes encroached. What is worse, NDTV accesses a government-sponsored survey that warned against this. Those warnings were ignored.
The flooded streets of Velachery in South Chennai, images that became emblematic of a city paralyzed by rains. In the eyes of the government, this was simply because of the intensity of the rain. But not everyone agrees.
It's a man-made flood in Chennai.
On the banks of the Pallikaranai marshes, we meet Jayashree Venkateshan. The marshes, once 50 square kilometers, used to act as a sponge to soak up rainwater and reduce flooding. But as these satellite pictures show, the marsh is a fraction of what it used to be.
This marshland has shrunk massively in the last 30 years.
What's the size now?
It's about 4.34 square kilometers and shrinking rapidly.
For example, what we see here is a resettlement colony.
This is a resettlement
It's a resettlement colony. This colony is a result of something that happened within the core of the city. These are residential buildings, gated communities and stuff like that, and allied infrastructure like schools.
These are all coming up in the marsh
around
area.
the marsh, yes, around the marsh and around the 32 wetlands that buffer the marsh.
And you also have big IT companies here like Cognizant,
Yes.
right here, and you see them all around.
All around, yes, it's part of the IT corridor.
So just from where we're standing, we're seeing two major encroachments onto the Pallikaranai marsh. The first is this road that was built to connect one part of South Chennai, Velachery, to the IT corridor, and this road has effectively cut the marsh into two halves. The other big problem that we can also see from here is this garbage dump. Now this is South Chennai's main garbage dump. Over the period of time, it has grown in size, and you can see that best when you look at a satellite picture of its growth like a cancerous tumor. It's grown to almost 7 times its size to 200 acres, encroaching into this water body and exacerbating the flood situation.
The combined impact for all to see. What makes this all the more shocking is that a detailed plan prepared 7 years ago at the government's behest warned against building in marshlands and wetlands, but was ignored.
What happens is, we have very clearly told them that you have an ecological mapping of the city. We had done it in the report, and do not do the development construction activities only accordingly. High rise will be allowed only in certain areas, medium rise, medium density is allowed in certain areas, low density, low rise will be allowed, certain areas no construction at all. But reverse has been taking place. With the result, the natural drain has completely choked.
Everyone, as a society, we are responsible. If we don't respect nature, nature has a way of coming back to us.
What happens now? Like what should they be doing?
No development here, no further development here.
No further development here, meaning in all this area around.
All this area, this 231 square kilometers. You need to protect it as an area where there is an issue of waterlogging.
But as we found, the cranes are hard at work at an industrial park not far from the wetlands. The lessons of Chennai's deluge clearly yet to be learnt. With camera person Xavier and Manas Roshan, Srinivasan Jain for NDTV.
And Srinivasan Jain also spoke to MK Stalin of the DMK, who typically has said it's not just heavy rain that's responsible, but the state administration, the state government has failed its people.
The waters may be receding here in Chennai, but the political temperatures are rising as the DMK has targeted the state government for not doing enough to contain the floods. I'm joined here by very senior DMK leader, MK Stalin. He's been former deputy chief minister, he's been a former mayor of Chennai, and of course, he's one of the senior most leaders of the party. He's given us, me and my colleague Sam Daniel here, a very rare opportunity to interview him. Thanks very much indeed, sir, for talking to us. Now, state government, sir, says that the rains were so great this year that they couldn't do anything about it. But you're saying that it was a failure of planning. Why do you say that?
அதாவது இந்த பருவமழை வந்து வழக்கமாக இந்த 2-3 மாதத்தில் வரக்கூடிய மழை தான் இந்த மழை. இந்த மழை வந்தப்போ முதலமைச்சராக இருக்கக்கூடிய அம்மையார் ஜெயலலிதா அவர்கள் நீண்ட நாட்களுக்கு பிறகு மழை முடிந்ததற்கு பிறகு முடிகின்ற தருவாயிலே வந்து அவருடைய தொகுதியில் ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட சில இடங்களில் வந்து பார்வையிட்டார். பார்வையிட்ட போது அவர் சொன்னது 3 மாதத்தில் பெய்ய வேண்டிய மழை 3 நாட்களில் பெய்துவிட்டது. அதனால் முறையான நிவாரணப் பணிகளில் ஈடுபட முடியவில்லை என்பதை அவரே வெளிப்படையாக குறிப்பிட்டு காட்டியிருக்கிறார்.
But she says, sir, that a lot of aid was distributed, a lot of water was drained off very fast. City came back to normal soon. Is that all true?
நிச்சயமாக இல்லை. இன்னும் வந்து இயல்பு நிலைக்கு இன்னும் சென்னை மாநகரமும் திரும்பல. அதே போல் கடலூர், திருவள்ளூர், காஞ்சிபுரம் போன்ற பல மாவட்டங்களும் இன்றைக்கு கடலில் மூழ்கி இருப்பதை போலத்தான் மக்கள் இன்றைக்கு மழை வெள்ளத்திலே அவதிக்கு ஆளாகி இருக்கிறார்கள். எனவே அது நிச்சயமாக இல்லை என்பதுதான் என்னுடைய வாதம்.
The fact is that a lot of construction has happened over water bodies, lakes and so on, and all state governments have allowed that, including yours.
ஏற்கனவே உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தில், உச்சநீதிமன்றத்தில் இந்த வாட்டர் பாடி எல்லாம் இந்த என்க்ரோச் எல்லாம் எடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னு ஒரு ரூலிங்கை போட்டிருக்காங்க, ஆர்டரே போட்டிருக்கிறாங்க. அந்த அடிப்படையில் திமுக ஆட்சி இருந்தப்போ அந்த பணிகள்லாம் செஞ்சுக்கிட்டு இருந்தோம். ஆனால் இந்த ஆட்சி வந்ததுக்கு பிறகு உச்சநீதிமன்றம் தீர்ப்பு கொடுத்தாலும் சரி, உயர்நீதிமன்றம் தீர்ப்பு கொடுத்தாலும் அதை வந்து பொருட்படுத்துறதே கிடையாதுவங்க. ஆக ஆக்கிரமிப்புக்கு என்கரேஜ் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. அது ஒரு காரணமாக இருக்கலாம்.
But sir, even in your time, people say that this kind of encroachment was going on. All these big buildings were coming up, IT corridors were coming up. So, again, don't you also become responsible for the disaster?
டெஃபரெண்டாக நான் ஒத்துக்கிறேன், இல்லைன்னு சொல்லலை. அது வந்து சில வந்து டெவலப்மெண்ட்டுக்காக சில ஸ்கீம்ஸ் எல்லாம் பண்ண வேண்டியிருக்கு. அப்படி பண்ணும்போது அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி அந்த ஸ்கீமை கரெக்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கணும். அதை வந்து திமுக ஆட்சி இருந்தப்போ ஓரளவுக்கு நாங்கள் பண்ணணும். ஆனால் இப்போ இந்த ஆட்சியில் வந்து எதையுமே செய்யலை.
They will say, sir, that you're just trying to make politics out of this because now elections are coming up next year. What would you say to that?
அதாவது இது அரசியல் ரீதியாக நாங்கள் வந்து எந்த காரணத்தை கொண்டு அணுகிறதுக்கு தயாராக இல்லை. எலெக்ஷன் வரப்போகுது, ஆக அதுக்காக தான் வந்து இந்த பிரச்சாரத்தை பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்க வேண்டியதில்லை.
But the fact is, sir, that elections are coming up next year, and you've been on a very extensive statewide tour as well, just before this. So in a way, you've already started the election campaign, haven't you?
எலெக்ஷன் கேம்பெயின்ங்கிறது நம்மளாம் நடத்திட்டு இருக்கோம், இதுக்காக நடத்துறதில்லை, தொடர்ந்து நடத்திட்டு இருக்கிறோம். ஆக நிச்சயமாக வந்து மக்களை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் இந்த எலெக்ஷனில் இந்த மக்களுக்கு இந்த எந்த அடிப்படையான பிரச்சனைகள், உள்கட்டமைப்பு வசதிகள் எதுவுமே இந்த ஆட்சியில் 4.5 ஆண்டு காலமாக நடக்கலை. ஆக இதுக்கெல்லாம் நிச்சயமாக எலெக்ஷனில் மக்கள் நல்ல தீர்ப்பை மக்கள் வழங்க தயாராக இருக்கிறாங்க.
But tell me, this extensive tour you've done of the state, you were just telling me you covered close to 200 odd constituencies. What sort of 234 constituencies. What sort of feedback have you been getting from the people about the state government?
கரப்ஷன், கலெக்ஷன், கமிஷன், இதுதான் இப்போ வந்து இந்த 4.5 வருஷமா இந்த ஏடிஎம்கே ஆட்சியில் இருந்துகிட்டு இருக்கு.
Corruption, collection and commission. This is what people are saying.
Yeah. இந்த கவர்மெண்ட்டில் இதுதான் இருக்குது. இப்போ அதுதான் நடந்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கு. எந்த ஐபிஎஸ் ஆகட்டும், பிடபிள்யூ ஆகட்டும், கார்பரேஷன் ஆகட்டும், உள்ளாட்சித்துறை இதாகட்டும், எந்த துறையாக இருந்தாலும் இப்போ அதுதான் நடந்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கு. அதனால் மக்கள் வந்து
they want a change, you're saying. But sir, in many ways the same allegations were made against the DMK as well of corruption. That was one of the reasons why some people say you lost last time.
இல்லை அது வந்து நீங்கள் வந்து அது வந்து குற்றச்சாட்டு சொல்லப்பட்டதை தவிர அந்த குற்றச்சாட்டு வந்து நீதிமன்றத்தில் இருக்குது. அந்த நீதிமன்றத்து மூலமாக தான் ரிசல்ட் வரப்போகுது. வந்ததுக்கு பிறகு தான் நீங்கள் வந்து அதை ப்ரூவ் பண்ண முடியும்.
But it's interesting to see you very much take the lead with your party and lead this campaign. Is that now a fairly clear indication that you will be leading the DMK's campaign in the coming elections? It will be under your leadership.
இல்லை நீங்கள் கேட்குறது வந்து லீடர்ஷிப் பற்றி கேட்குறீங்க. லீடர்ஷிப் பற்றி.
Yes.
லீடர்ஷிப்புங்கிறது திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகம் வந்து கலைஞருடைய தலைமையில் நாங்கள் வந்து எங்களுடைய பணியை போய் செஞ்சுக்கிட்டே இருக்கோம்.
That is the official answer you're giving me, but I'm asking you.
அதெல்லாம்
Isn't it now fairly clear that you will be the leader of the campaign and you will be the party's chief ministerial candidate?
நோ அதுக்கெல்லாம் அந்த மாதிரி எண்ணமே இல்லை. அந்த மாதிரி நான் சொல்லவும் இல்லை. அது வந்து திமுக தலைமை தான் முடிவெடுக்கும். தலைமையை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் இப்போ கலைஞர் தான் எங்களுக்கு தலைவர். கலைஞர் தான் வந்து எங்களை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் அவரை முன்னிலைப்படுத்தி தான் நாங்கள் வந்து எலெக்ஷன் நடத்திட்டு இருக்கோம்.
It is only a decision that he will take.
Yeah.
But in conclusion, sir, you feel that the mood in Tamil Nadu is of change and the mood is in favor of the DMK? Is that
Definitely.
Is that what you feel? And you will continue the campaign now? Are we to understand that from now till the elections the campaign will be continuous?
Definitely.
You will definitely be campaigning. Sir, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. It was a real pleasure, and we hope that you will continue to give us such interviews in the run-up to the election.
Thank you.
Well, as the Chennai Corporation and the city administration mounts a massive relief effort, Srinivasan Jain also spoke to Vikram Kapoor, who's the commissioner of that corporation.
Sir, thank you so much for joining us as Chennai limps back to normalcy from these rains. First of all, there's a debate about every aspect of this. As you know, people feel that the response could have been much more. The first aspect that's being debated is the basic one, that was this the worst rain that Chennai has ever faced, or as some suggest, this is not the worst, or this is close to similar such cloudbursts in the past?
I'll let the numbers do the talking. If you take the rainfall for the month of November alone, the last time we had such a massive rainfall was in the year 1918, about 1088 millimeters, and today we've already touched 1085. So with one more spell, I think this would be the highest ever rainfall for a month in the whole history of Chennai.
Okay.
So from that you can gauge what has been the magnitude of this rain.
And in the specific days when Chennai really came under the flood, again some are suggesting that those numbers, while high, are not the highest. Chennai seen worse.
No, in terms of certain episodes, there were pretty high rainfall days. Like for example, around 16th, we had in one day alone about 24 centimeters of rain. And on certain other days, equally, heavy rainfall. In one particular day, we had, for example, in 1 hour alone, 6 centimeters of rain, which is very high by all standards.
Right.
So we've had these kind of episodes.
Right. Now, in terms of the actual impact itself, I've just been talking to some people, environmentalists and so on, and they say that a lot of this flooding was man-made. It was to do with the kind of reckless, unplanned growth that the city has witnessed in the past 10 years. Would you agree?
See, you can't just say it's man-made. There are natural causes. When you have rains of this magnitude, it's a natural disaster. But having said that, to some extent, yes, people are also responsible in the sense that there has been a lot of development that has happened, not just in the past 10 years, but over several decades. The outlying areas of Chennai particularly, it has seen a lot of development happening. Unfortunately, a lot of those areas do not have proper stormwater drain networks, they don't have proper drainage. And it is now those areas that are today seeing a lot of flooding because we've not invested enough in those kind of drainage systems.
Well, the flooding has been pretty widespread. But when you say that people are responsible as a city official, isn't it also the responsibility of the corporation to have ensured that the growth and the planning is done in a sustainable way? Doesn't the buck stop with you?
Well, the role of the city corporation is limited to providing civic infrastructure. There is a separate planning body, and there are other agencies also that provide civic services.
Sure, but in terms of doing clearances and all of that and making sure that the growth is sustainable.
See, rather than put a blame on any particular agency, when I say people are responsible, means everyone as a society we are responsible. If we don't respect nature, nature has a way of coming back to us.
You're admitting, you're accepting that.
So, as a society, as people, we need to respect nature, which means that, for example, a city like Chennai, and when I say city, I talk about the entire region, even beyond the city's boundaries. It's typically a very flat terrain. We've been blessed by nature with hundreds and thousands of tanks and reservoirs. In fact, if you just have a look at this map,
yes.
while this area, the colored portion, is only Chennai city, if you see the hinterland is full of water bodies.
Which are all flowing in.
And all the drainage actually goes into the sea.
Right.
And if you see the three major rivers of Chennai, the Kosas Talyar,
yes.
The Kuam and the Adyar, are rivers which actually naturally flow from west to east.
Right.
And all these water bodies, there are thousands of them, they actually, through 4 basins, actually empty into these rivers. And ultimately, all of them flow through the city of Chennai.
Into the sea.
Yeah. So what has happened now today is that because of heavy rains, every single water body is surplusing. And huge quantity of water is flowing into the city, which has unfortunately not been designed for this kind of deluge.
Right, hello and welcome to this special that comes to you from Chennai, from the beautiful South Church in the heart of the city. Fortunately now, at least for the past 24 hours, the skies have cleared up and there's a brief respite. But this has been an opportunity to look a little closely at the rains and the floods and the impact of the floods, because so far all the focus has been on the disaster, the rescue, but now tough questions are being asked about whether this is in fact a natural disaster, as the state government has been claiming, or is this a man-made disaster? So we're joined by a special panel of people here. We're hoping more of them are also going to be joining us. We're joined by TKS Ilangovan of the DMK, very senior leader, joining us here at this lovely South Church location. Also joining me is Jayashree Venkateshan. She's somebody who works with the One Earth Foundation. It's an NGO that looks at the ecology of the city very closely. And also by Raj Cherubal, who's the director of Chennai City Connect, a group that works with the IT sector and with corporates to try and make sure that they are responsible socially. Now, first question to you, Mr. Ilangovan, that I know the DMK has used this to make political capital. You've been attacking the ADMK for not doing enough. But the fact is that the sort of rampant, unchecked growth that we've seen in the city that has led to these flooding is not the responsibility of any one government. All governments, including yours, have been responsible for it.
See, the problem is, this is rainy season. The annual rainfall is somewhere during October, November.
Yes.
The state government, the Chennai Corporation should have cleaned up the water channels, stormwater drains,
yes,
the sewage pipelines.
Yes.
This is the periodical work which a government has to definitely follow before rain. We don't know what will be the impact of rain, how much.
No, but if
rainfall
you
will be there. This government had failed to take any proper step befue rains. The periodic or annual maintenance was not conducted first.
Let me just say to you that you may well be right that they perhaps didn't clean the drains and all of that. But I'm making a wider point that this kind of flooding is because of the systematic manner in which the city's water bodies, lakes, wetlands have been encroached upon, constructed, and this is the legacy of all governments, including the DMK.
It has been there for quite a long time, right from the Congress period. See, this for the past 40, 50 years, I can say.